to Cooking with Christina with our What Lights Us Up podcast guest. And Michele has her Mangia with Michele brand.
Yes, it's been around since late 2017.
2017. And we're going to hear her story on What Lights Us Up podcast, which I'll link in the show. And today, so you're going to love this, Michele is, I would say,
prepared to laugh.
Professional chef. Yes. And I came up with the idea, so I drove from the shore, we're in New Jersey, and I came up with the idea to try to make my grandmother's lobster sauce that she would make every year.
That's a great idea.
We don't have her recipe written down, but we're gonna try to recreate it. And so I got fresh lobsters at the shore. I got them at the Lobster House in Cape May. And you can see, so when I reached out to Michele and I gave her this idea, I was expecting that I've never cooked live lobsters before, have you? And Michele, what did you say when
I said, that sounds delicious. Just so you know, I've had a traumatic experience with lobsters early in my food career. I was still in cooking school. And she thought that was hysterical.
So I did. You know why? Because it's relatable.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to make these today, and we were a little terrified to take them out of the bag, yes. So help us through this.
The lobsters start jumping around.
Right, start jumping around.
We're just discussing before we go.
So we're gonna try to take them out. That's a good idea. Cut the bag. Okay, anyone know how to get lobsters out of a bag? Really terrified here.
It's fine.
You feel like this is gonna, okay. Can't get the sucker. Here. So, note when you get the lobsters, obviously get them live. And we're gonna drop them in. So we have a big pot that's big enough to fit both lobsters. They're about a pound and a half each. We're gonna drop them in. The water is already boiling. Okay, we're gonna drop it in head first. Oh my God. Yes, we did it. We got it. All right, so now we're going to wait for the water to boil, and then we're going to time it.
Okay.
So the water is boiling, and we started the timer for 12 minutes.
It's a hard simmer.
So the lobsters are done.
We're not scared anymore because they're dead.
Michelle's not scared. We did it. Look how pretty that color is.
Beautiful.
So we're gonna split underneath and throw it in with shell and everything.
I mean, any big pieces of shell that we can easily take out of the sauce, we should throw into the sauce because it's going to give it incredible flavor. So like even little pieces, I mean, we could, but I would say we could just stick to the large pieces. What we're going to do is take lobster meat out first.
So we're just breaking these off?
We're going to just break these off.
Breaking them off, okay.
So this is something that I had to do when the lobsters were alive back in cooking school.
No! That's why you were traumatized.
Well, it wasn't in cooking school, it was at a restaurant I was working at in Philadelphia. It was a fancy hotel restaurant. I think it was my second day. I was just very green and nervous and didn't know anything. And they plopped down a big box of live lobsters. I had to pick up the live lobster and literally break it in half. Only it was alive. And it was probably 3 times the size of this. And I just didn't have the strength in my hands. And you don't know how much I picked up, and the lobster just like jumped out of my hands and went. But after that, I was like, I don't think I could ever touch a live lobster again. I mean, I was traumatized.
That's traumatizing.
That's the story. And it was a whole box, a whole case full.
But, oh my God, did you see the juice that came out of that?
Yeah.
So I was telling Michele a story of why my grandmother made this lobster sauce every Christmas. And my mom was telling me because my grandfather's family, they would go for Christmas Eve. We're from the Naples area in Italy, and we would do Feast of Seven Fishes. Well, my grandfather's, whoever they were going over, they didn't do Feast of Seven Fishes. And he was so pissed. He told my grandmother they would eat before they went to dinner. And he asked her to make the lobster sauce so that they could have the fish before they go to dinner because they weren't going to have any fish at dinner. And he wanted to make sure he had fish for Feast of Seven Fishes for Christmas Eve. Look at this. So 2 lobsters is all you get.
Yeah. Well, there's still some meat in some of the claws and stuff, but yeah.
Do we want to break up the meat or do we want to just throw it in? It'll break up in the sauce.
It'll break up once we
Okay.
And we're only going to put that in at the very end.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So that's going in the sauce. This is meat for the finished pasta. And I think we're ready to go to the next
Ready to cook.
So we're just going to heat up the oil, and I would say
So enough olive oil to coat the bottom of your pan.
this is probably about 2 tablespoons, and I think that's a good amount.
Like about how many cloves do you think?
Maybe 4 to 5 cloves. Probably want to let it get to just soft, just starting to turn a little lightly brown. So you want the garlic to mostly soften. It doesn't need 100% soft. I would add at this time just a little bit of crushed red pepper. And we're going to do something that your grandmother probably didn't do, but you're kind enough you're indulging me to add in a couple of anchovies.
So just whole anchovies. Now are you
can
gonna
chop them? You can chop them. I'm going to put just a little bit of anchovy oil. Now it's not going to taste like anchovies. It's just going to give it more umami. Umami, is that savoriness, that kind of like je ne sais quoi, like character. So the anchovies themselves are going to disintegrate or dissolve, I should say, in the oil.
As it cooks.
Yeah, and at this point I also would add just a little bit of parsley. We'll do parsley now. And we'll do
parsley now.
Parsley at the end. We'll do it twice.
Okay, so we cooked the garlic with the anchovy, the parsley, the red chili pepper flakes, and the olive oil. Now sizzling, and garlic's a little browned.
Lightly browned and a little soft. It's going to continue to get soft. And now we have 2 cans of whole tomatoes in sauce that we hand crushed, and we're just going to pour that in. And we also have some, like half a can of water we're going to put in here as well from the cans.
I don't know, it's like cooking 101 for Italians, but it was because maybe they didn't want to waste any of the...
They didn't want to waste. They're great at using up everything, and there's a lot of sauce that's left, like on the outside of the inside of the can.
Right.
So, and also I think it just helps to add a little water to the cooking process, so it's got a double. So we're just going to pour this right in here, and now we're going to give it a stir. We'll do a little bit of salt and pepper.
We're going to add the shells.
We're going to add the shells.
So these are all the large shells that we separated out. We don't want any of the small pieces in.
Right.
And we're just going to throw that in.
Yes. So we're going to need to scoop those out. So it might be a little detailed work at the end, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to have so much flavor.
That looks amazing.
It's starting to smell really good. So good. We're going to take these shells out.
So while we're cooking the pasta, we'll throw in the lobster meat because we had cooked the sauce with the shells to get the flavor.
Yes, so right now the spaghetti's cooking, and one of the last steps, the sauce is completely done. Now we're just going to add the lobster meat just to heat it through because it's already cooked.
We didn't want to like overcook the lobster meat, right? Is that why, we don't want it to be like rubbery, like shrimp.
Rubbery, exactly. And we'll add a little bit more parsley. All
So
right.
the
Pasta is like about 2 minutes before al dente. So we're going to take it here and we're going to finish cooking it in the sauce. So it absorbs all those wonderful flavors. Like 30 more seconds, and then we're going to transfer it over to the platter.
So you take a ladle and you twist it.
It's not very Nonna-ish. It's more restaurant-ish.
And Michele made this amazing bruschetta and these marinated
Roasted sweet peppers.
So if you're looking for her recipes, go to her website, Mangia with Michele, sign up for her newsletter, and I'm sure you either have the recipes or you're going to be posting them.
Yeah, the peppers are already there, and something very similar
is on
to the
up
tomatoes
there.
is up there, yeah.
Look at that.
Let's finish it off now. Just a little bit more. And help out
there
these
we
nice
go.
pieces.
Look at that. That's so pretty.
Yeah, just top it off with a little bit more sauce.
Oh, we should cheers. Cheers.
Buon appetito.
Thanks for cooking with me.
My pleasure. So much fun.